All right. Looks like most of our panel is here today. So, hi everyone. Welcome to our Dodge College student panel. My name is Priscilla, and I'm the Director of Admission for Dodge College, and I will also be your moderator for this evening. The goal of this session is to learn more about student life here at Chapman and at Dodge College. I will start off by asking the students a few questions, and then I will leave time for Q&A from you all. Feel free to start putting your questions in the Q&A section. Feel free, if you see a question that you also like and would like answered, make sure you give it a thumbs up. That'll push it up on our radar to be able to ask. Some questions will be answered live and others will be answered in the chat. We will do our best to answer as many questions as possible. And if we don't get back to you tonight, we will follow up with you in the next few days. Let's go ahead and get started by having our panel introduce themselves. If we could start with you, Elena.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you all for being here. My name is Elena. I am a senior creative producing major with a minor in the honors program, and I'm originally from Orange County.
Awesome. Aiden.
Hi, I'm Aiden. I am a junior film and television production major with an emphasis in directing, and I'm originally from San Francisco, California. I'm also a transfer student.
Awesome. Lisa.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lisa. I'm a senior broadcast journalism and documentary major. I have minors in visual journalism and Chinese, and I'm originally from Staten Island, New York.
Awesome. Devin.
Hi, everybody. I'm Devin Winston. I'm a senior writing for film and television major with a minor in art history, and I'm from Pomona, California.
Amazing. And Alana.
Hi everyone, I am a senior film and television production major with an emphasis in directing, and I also have a minor in French. And I'm originally from Nairobi, Kenya. So if you have any international student questions, I'm happy to answer.
Awesome. I'm going to call on you guys to tell us a little bit. I know you told us what program you're involved in, but if you tell us a little bit about your program, your favorite things about your program, and why you picked that program. We'll go in the same order since it's a little easier on my screen. Elena, you want to get started?
Yeah, for sure. So just to briefly reiterate, I'm a creative producing major, and the creative producing major generally covers everything from the business side of film. So while we are people on set, we're not usually the ones holding the camera or putting up props or anything like that. We're the ones handling the logistical side of creating the budgets, the schedules, and the deadlines. And although it doesn't sound that is really fun for me because I get to oversee the entire creative vision and be able to unite every creative department from director to cinematographer to production designer, all to tell one story. I get to see a process, a film be made from script to screen, and I love that. But ultimately, my favorite thing about my major is, well, I have two. One is the cross collaboration that we have. I feel like creative producers really get to collaborate with, especially film and television production students on our junior and senior theses or independence. We also collaborate with writing for film and television majors, VFX majors, animation majors. So I love that I've been able to work with different types of creatives and tell various types of stories. But my second favorite thing about my major is the skills that you gain, because as a producer, you learn how to have communication skills, organization skills, leadership. And although you need that in every major, I feel like if you don't have that as a producer, your production might fall apart a little bit. And so it's really great that we get hands-on experience in my major to really utilize those in like educational settings while also being able to be creative.
I love that. Aiden.
Yeah, so I'm a film and television production major with an emphasis in directing. I'd say the reason I chose this program and something that I really like about it is once again the collaboration. I being on set so often, being able to meet so many different people coming from different backgrounds, wanting to tell different stories, but all coming together for one goal, and working together towards that goal is really rewarding. And I think this program really emphasizes that, especially since there are different emphases. So all of us, a lot of times, like especially freshman year, are in the same classes. And so it's really nice. That's another thing I love about Dodge in this program is just that you really get to meet people from all the different areas, and you also get to learn the different areas yourself. So you kind of get to learn how to be an all-around filmmaker, which I really enjoy because it helps you, first of all, really hone in on the thing you want to do by trying everything, but also you understand the other creative processes that people are going through. So then when you are directing or editing or whatever, you understand where the other people are coming from, you know how to communicate with them. And I think that's super important. And so I just really like the way that this program is structured and the fact that they really promote collaboration and creativity.
I love that. Thank you so much. And both of you mentioned collaboration. That was going to be my next question. So for the rest of the panel, if you want to also mention how you collaborate with other programs, that would be amazing. Go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, so again, I'm Lisa and I'm a broadcast journalism and documentary major. So this whole major kind of sounds like two programs kind of mushed together, and that's just because this program focuses on the nonfiction storytelling aspect here at Dodge College. Broadcast journalism, a lot of people don't really know what that is, but that's the emphasis that I chose. So you can either go towards broadcast journalism or documentary filmmaking. So with broadcast journalism, essentially you're learning skills both in front and behind the camera, researching news, writing news, reporting news. And the reason why I chose it is just because I love journalism, and combining that passion of storytelling with skills, editing, multimedia platforms, right? Like podcasts, videos, things like that. That's what that program covers, is learning all those different forms of media to tell a cohesive story on real people or real communities. And I love, and the collaboration aspect, Priscilla, like you were saying, there is so much collaboration within this major already. If news is not your thing, we also have opportunities for students to get involved with sports broadcasting, for example. And we have a club called Chapman Sports Broadcast Network, which a lot of people from various types of schools are a part of, right? So even if you're not in Dodge, we have people who are just interested in sports commentating and they're in the business school, for example. So there's a lot of that kind of interdisciplinary collaboration in that way, where you're getting skills from people who are in different Dodge majors, but also even outside of the school itself.
I love that. Devin?
Yeah, so two of the big things that I love about the writing program here are the classes and the professors. In the rooms that you're in, you're writing with 10 to 12 other students that are all working on projects of various kinds, and you're establishing a really strong writing rapport with those students as well as the professors. Professors are very willing to meet with you outside of class, after class, whenever, because oftentimes they're working professionals that have a lot of writing experience and are really ready to impart some of that wisdom and that knowledge onto the students. So they're very approachable people. And, when you develop a strong relationship with them, for example, when you're writing your thesis or one of your thesis projects, which is a feature film, you're working with the same professor ideally for the whole school, the whole academic year. So you develop a very strong relationship with them, and they get to know your writing style and can help you along with that process. In terms of the collaboration aspect, it's definitely one of the most collaborative parts of Dodge, I feel. I wrote my roommate's junior thesis project. I'm working with other people to develop their senior thesis projects. So you get a lot of chances to work on scripts that are not just your own, but work on scripts that are actually going to be put to screen. So you're constantly working with the key creatives on projects. You're seeing it form from a spark of an idea, whether it's yours, a producer's, a director's, what have you. So those are definitely some of the strongest aspects of the major. And I think the Chapman and Dodge do a really great job of elevating and promoting all the screenwriters in the program.
Thank you. Alana?
Yeah, so I'm a senior film production major, similar to Aiden. And in terms of collaboration, I feel like it was mentioned also with like, I would be collaborating with somebody like Elena, who would be a producer. I think longevity of connections. Sometimes if you work with somebody from your second year, you end up working with them on your third year and fourth year. And then post-graduation, you could end up having these connections for a really long time. So I think you form a really good network amongst everybody. It was said, like, I love how we go from script to screen. And then the last thing I feel like people didn't mention is the facilities. Like from when you get here, you can get your hands on a camera for your own independent projects or what have you. And then you see these big stages and you wonder, oh, this is just reserved for seniors. Like usually you're able to work on those as soon as your junior year. So having access to the facilities and being able to use them is also a really great thing.
Thank you so much, Alana. My next question for you guys is, out of all the schools you applied to and considered, why did you choose Chapman and Dodge, and what were you looking for on what helped guide your decision? Any of you guys can go first. Sorry, I don't want to have to go in order.
I can speak to this. So I'm a transfer student, so I was really nervous about transferring, and it was really scary because I didn't know, and even coming as a freshman, I know it's scary because you think, oh, it's gonna be hard to make friends, or am I gonna be able to get on set on projects? It's a lot to take in, and so when I came here to tour, I really just noticed the community aspect, and I noticed that everyone is very welcoming and they aren't like trying to be like elite or exclusive. Like everyone just really wants to work together and they're not trying to step on each other's toes. Like it doesn't feel like a competitive nature when you're here. It feels like everyone wants to help each other out. Like if I'm shooting something this weekend, I guarantee I could find a crew just because if I asked around, people would be like, yeah, I'd love to help out just because there's so many people are so nice and want to get experience here. And it's just really awesome. And so I really felt that vibe when I came here. And I also did my research and saw the faculty, and I noticed how many were still working in the industry and how many had amazing experience. And I watched some interviews, and I was like, wow, they know how to articulate and teach, and I think that's really important. And also the small class size because I came from a very big school, so it's really nice to be able to actually get to know your professors and feel like they really care and want you to succeed. So those are just a few of the main reasons why I chose Chapman.
Awesome. Anyone else want to jump in?
I'm happy to jump in. I am unlike Aiden, I am a first year, so I don't know for all the first years out there, but I applied to over like 12 schools just because you want to like cast your net wide. But Chapman was definitely at the top of my list, mostly because similar to Aiden, the facilities, but primarily because of my major. Chapman is, I think, one of the only schools in the nation that has creative producing at the undergraduate level. And I knew in high school that like helping out with the logistical side of filmmaking was exactly what I wanted to do. And so seeing the curriculum online and seeing how I could take screenwriting classes to meet screenwriters, I took overview producing classes, budgeting classes, distribution classes. So I got to have a class in basically every step of the production process to get a holistic education of what a producer is was really enticing to me. Also, the fact that at least for producers, you come out of your 4-year education with at least 2 films under your portfolio, a wide network of people that you've worked with, and also an internship. I'm a huge advocate for internships. I think I've spent almost like half my whole college career doing internships, so I'd love to talk about that. And Chapman was really great about having a career center that connects you with different companies that are offering internships. And so it's really great that they foster your passions and just general curiosities about film in any way that they can.
Thank you so much. Lisa, do you want to go next?
Yeah, for sure. So I actually came into Dodge as a public relations advertising major. So that's primarily what drew me into the school is just because their program was really what I was looking for at the time. But in addition to that, just looking at, again, like what everyone was saying, the facilities and the resources that Dodge has really jumped out at me. The small class sizes, we have an average class size of 23 students, and that was something that I knew was going to be really important for me. Having my professors know who I am and me being able to know who they are and talk to my classmates, as peers in that sense, was really important for me. But besides that, just like the student life as well, we are far enough away from Los Angeles, but still close enough to get that kind of access to the city. So, like Elena was saying, right, internships are super important and a huge part of, why you're going to school, and having that close connection with Los Angeles and also surrounding cities really, was something that was important to me because I wanted to have those opportunities.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Devin.
Yeah, I actually want to piggyback off of what Lisa and Elena were saying with how welcoming everyone is. There's a certain moment while you're at Dodge where you have no idea what's going on, you have no idea who anybody is, but there's a moment where everything kind of just clicks into place, and you really do find your tribe of people that you can trust and that you see on campus, and they see you and you see them, and you're a real person, and you're not just a small fish in a big pond. the pond kind of gets a little bit smaller, and you kind of grow and adapt to that. And I think Dodge does an excellent job of cultivating a very strong, tight knit community within communities. That was definitely something I experienced when I toured here, and I would firmly maintain that it's kept up that feeling over my 4 years. Also, harkening back to what they were saying with internships, the career center has been such an incredible tool here, and I think that it's been one of the strongest points of interest for me in choosing Chapman and choosing Dodge, because like I said earlier, you can feel like a little fish in a big pond, but the career center kind of tailors your experience to make you feel like you're not the only one feeling a certain type of way. It's a very welcoming environment at the school, and they offer a lot of resources to help you, and they want to help you, and students want to help you, professors want to help you, advisors want to help you. So it's just it's a community of helping, and I think that's just one of the best parts about the school.
And I love obviously everyone on the student panel tonight is also an admissions assistant and a tour guide in our office. So they've also built their own little community here. So they're working on each other's projects, networking, bringing friends in. And I love that you guys take full advantage of that opportunity. I do have a question for you guys. That is, how much time outside of class do you guys spend on projects? So you have class time, obviously, you still have your general education courses, but how much time would you guys say you spend outside of classes? Yes, you do your projects, but what about on other student films? Any one of you is
I
okay.
I can go. Are you talking about like class projects or like junior and
Oh,
senior theses?
both. So like if you were
Okay.
assigned a project in class, like how much time do you think you spend on that a week? And then also if you're working on an actual project, how much time do you expect to work on that?
Yeah, for sure. On the former half, I think with class projects, continuing the collaboration that's across all of Dodge. Even in our classes, there's a bunch of group projects for you to contribute your creative vision. I'm in a class right now where me and a group of students have to come up with someone who's up and coming in the industry, and we have to like pretend to pitch them like we're an agent or a manager. So we all get to contribute our own ideas and like our experiences with pop culture to be like, I like this person, and here's why we should all kind of uplift this one person. And on the latter half of that, with like our junior and senior theses, as a creative producing major, I spend like maybe 25 out of my 24-hour days on it. At least that's what it feels like, I will say. But honestly, the hours go by so quick and the days fly by so fast because everything I'm doing for my those like junior and senior theses, I do with so much love. And the people that I work with just make the time fly by so fast that it doesn't even feel that hard sometimes. And everyone is so dedicated to what they do that like the time consuming aspect doesn't really feel like a factor until someone reminds you that you have like 1 week left until production. You're like, what do you mean? I feel like I just started.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I would love to jump in. Sorry, Aiden,
No, no, go ahead. We have time for everybody.
I actually wanted to speak about, doing work outside of your curriculum, because, I'm a writer, but I also direct, and Chapman has done such a great job or Dodge rather, has done such a great job of cultivating a network for everyone. And it really offers a chance for people to kind of stretch their wings and try out new muscles that they haven't quite developed in class. So like Aiden was saying, you could reach out to 15 people and have a crew ready to go for the weekend to shoot an independent. And I did the very same thing last year for an independent of my own. And it's such a strong familial building community. And Dodge just does a great job of offering you resources to take advantage of to do projects outside of class, no matter your major.
Yeah, Aiden, did you want an answer too?
Yeah, just quickly, I was just gonna to kind of go off of that. Yeah, like whether it's an independent or just being on set in general, I think Dodge provides a lot of resources that you can take advantage of as much or as little as you would like to. You can be on set as much as you want, or if you're just not that kind of person, you're more of an introvert, you don't have to be. You could be on set once. And so, but last semester, it was probably a mistake, but I was on set every single weekend. And that is something that I would not recommend. But you know what? If you're the kind of person that's like, go, 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 you can do that. Or if you're not, then you don't have to. And that's totally up to you. But really, how much time you spend on projects is up to you and how much you want to use those resources. There are a lot of people who would love to help, other people get on set more and are willing to answer questions and be collaborative. But like this is the kind of school where if you would rather be, you want to write something and then hand it off and you don't want to be involved in that, that is up to you and that's okay. And so I think it's really awesome that you can kind of choose how much time you want to spend on set, on projects, like, or how much you want to spend kind of in your own space doing that work, you know, um, if you're more of an introvert. So I think it's kind of up to the individual person.
Awesome. Lisa, what about you too, since you're in a different kind of major as well?
Yeah, definitely. So with broadcast journalism, it again kind of similar to what everyone else was saying too. It really just depends on what you want to get out of it, right? There's so many different kinds of opportunities for me as a broadcast journalism student to be involved with broadcast. So like I mentioned previously with CSBN, the Sports Broadcast Club, we typically have a broadcast almost every week and on large scales, but also like the smaller broadcasts as well. So I sign up on one probably like I do 3 or 4 a month. And that's a lot of time already because I have the opportunity to just go from various um, production positions, but also have the opportunity to both produce or direct my own broadcast. But even aside from that, I have friends who are in film production or in sound design, for example. One of my closest friends is a sound designer, and so anytime that he needs help on set, I would love, I jump at the opportunity just because, just the close knitness of the school in general. You are friends and have the opportunity to go on set if you're interested in it, right? Or if you're interested in sports broadcasting or producing news, right? You can just have those opportunities just because there's so many of them here. So it really just depends on what you want to get out of your experience here at Dodge, and just because there's a plethora of all of that. So it really just depends on what you want to do. But for me personally, I would say I spend a good chunk of my week on set or on a broadcast.
Lisa, while I have you, someone had a question for you. What advice would you give someone and how did it feel moving across the country to come to school?
Yeah, definitely. It was hard for sure. I definitely, as a senior in high school, I wanted to stay on the East Coast, but I knew that I wanted that out of state experience. And what really sold me was actually coming out here to California because I had that opportunity to check out the campus, given it was also during COVID. So it definitely felt like, really quiet on campus. But even then, seeing how just awesome the campus was, seeing all the different restaurants in the area at the Circle. If you guys have the opportunity to come down, would definitely recommend it. And just it just felt right to me. It sounds super cliche, super cheesy, but as soon as I stepped into Dodge, it was like, wow, like things feel really nice here. Like everyone, the very few people that I saw on campus, they said hi to me, right? I visited some other huge colleges that I won't name drop, but I just like didn't feel welcomed there. And at Dodge, that wasn't the case. And that to me was really important. And so in my mind, I was just kind of like, okay, I know I want that out of state experience out of college, even though that's super scary. I really kind of assessed the pros and cons in my mind, right? I was like, okay, the opportunities, both academically and socially and career wise, right? There's a lot of pros there at Dodge. And I think making that big step, it'll be hard, but I think it'll be super worth it. So I think if you are an out-of-state student, right, whether you're across the country or in a different country, right, I think that's something that you kind of have to work with in your own mind, right? Just like, okay, am I really willing to take that risk because the opportunities are much greater? That's really something that you have to ask yourself.
Thank you. Elena, this question is for you. Our creative producing major, in my opinion, is our gem here. I don't think a bunch of students really understand what it is, but how do you guys get involved on student films and how do you collaborate? Like, is it between a class? Do you have to do it on your own? Someone was asking.
Yeah, for sure. Creative producers are highly involved in like student films. Like with the director, you are that right-hand person. Like you are always like you are a team. You are the person that all the department heads come to for whatever they need. Usually they need money, usually they need more money. So you're always communicating with them. You're kind of like the nucleus alongside your director of the whole production. It's really, can you repeat the second half of that question?
Yeah, just like how do you get involved? Is it in the classroom where you get paired up with the director? Do you do it on your own? Can you give us some examples?
Yeah, for sure. What's really nice about the organization of the Dodge Creative Producing curriculum is that with every year, the projects you work on expand. At least for creative producers, the first big project that we do is our advanced production, or as we call it, our AP, or as generally known, our junior thesis. This is when we team up with a student director, like a directing emphasis, for example, like Aiden, and we would work together over the course of one semester to produce about an 8-minute short film, and we're given a budget of around $2,500. And the way we crew with that, at least for your AP, similar to how the industry works, it's all about who you know. I was really fortunate enough to get connected with my director, who I've worked with for my junior and senior thesis, through a mutual friend, like a few weeks before the second semester started. And so it's all about like your network and who you know and who they know that can help you crew on your projects. But also the professors are really supportive about connecting you to teams. If you're like, I still haven't found anybody, then they're like, here's a list of all the teams. Feel free to like reach out to these producers, and they have bigger like scale projects. They might need some help, and then you will work with them. And so it's super collaborative across the board. You're involved in every step of the way. Everyone comes to you for everything. And what's really nice is no two film that you make is the same. For even for me, my junior and senior thesis were objectively very producible. It was like one location and like 2 to 3 characters, but the processes were so different, and you get to learn so much about your producing style, your leadership style through these opportunities. But I've also produced like a web series, and I've also produced an animated short, and those are completely different mediums, as opposed to in comparison to short films. And so I think I'm kind of going on a tangent, but I'll conclude it by saying Dodge is really great about, I think one of the biggest things you'll learn here is that you learn by doing, and the professors and the community here are really supportive. Like, even if you make a mistake, the professors will help you kind of pick yourself back up and keep going.
Thank you so much. It's super important. Aiden, the next question is for you. They don't want you to dish out the school you came from, and we don't want you to either. But if you can explain maybe what the switch was that had you change your mindset, and then on top of that is, do you find yourself knowing or networking with a lot of other transfer students? Like, are there a lot of transfer students in our programs?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So, yeah, the school I came from was, like I said, a lot bigger. So I really didn't really get to know the professors very much. I actually also didn't start out in film there. But when I knew I wanted to do it, I switched to film, and I just noticed that the professors didn't seem like they cared as much. It felt like they weren't super passionate. And when I started to research the faculty here, I just noticed how passionate and how much experience they had, and just like how much they cared about their students, especially with the career center and all that stuff. Like, they really just focus on making sure students have as much success as they want and get to pursue what they love. And I think that's so important. And then also, it felt like like the program itself, it felt like it was the kind of thing that people would go into maybe if like they were like, yeah, it seems kind of fun. But here it's like everyone's like, I like, they're really passionate about it, and I love that. And they're curious, and they're interested in learning new things and trying different aspects of film. And I think the environment was the main switch for me. And the size. I just wanted a place that was so like everyone there was so passionate and wanted to be there and was appreciative that they were there, and that there were just resources provided, and that the people, the staff and faculty actually like really cared about the students and wanted them to succeed. And then in terms of like other transfer students, the people I started hanging out with when I first came here were like a lot of transfer students. We kind of had a little transfer community. That being said, that didn't stop me at all from like getting to meet people who are continuing students. A lot of times, like a year, like even now, people are like that I've been friends with are like, wait, you're a transfer student? Like, I didn't, because I just like, they just, it kind of just integrates, you integrate. Which I was, like I said, I was nervous about that, but it honestly ended up being way easier just because everyone wants to meet everyone and collaborate with everyone. But there is a transfer community, so anytime I have questions or I'm concerned about something, or like I want to know more about kind of the structure of how my program's going to work, since I'm a transfer student, like there's other students I can go to and relate to. And it was really nice coming in, kind of having that group of people, because we were also all catching up on certain classes and things like that. So I would say there is a community, but it's also within a larger community. And so you kind of have both, which is nice.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We've gotten a few questions about how you guys chose either your double major or your minor. Can you guys talk a little bit about that process?
Yeah, I can take this one first if that's okay. So I broadcast journalism and documentary major, but I have two minors outside of Dodge, visual journalism and Chinese. So with the Chinese minor, it was just something that was important to me. My family speaks Chinese, and I never had that opportunity in my high school or previously to take a language class like that. So seeing that Chapman offered a Chinese program was really important for me, and I eventually in that program got to travel abroad to Taiwan for a travel course. So it was about 3 weeks in the summer last year. And that was just a really cool opportunity for me. So super thankful to Chapman for that. And it's just been awesome to be able to tap in and learn a different language and about the culture as well. And then for my visual journalism minor, really, I was just interested. That was the minor that I declared first before realizing that broadcast journalism is probably the major for me. So I took like basic reporting classes and that, and then I was like, wait, hold on, journalism is really cool. Let me switch my major entirely. But yeah, in that minor itself, you're learning about the different aspects of like kind of print journalism and design, like graphic design, learning Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, things like that. So, and that was just, those were just skills that I wanted to hone in on in addition to my major and sharpening my writing skills. Because with the broadcast journalism program, like you are learning about how to write, but also you're learning video skills, right, and reporting skills. So just having that minor was an additional like skill set, I guess, that I wanted to incorporate into my education.
Awesome. Anyone else?
I can hop in. I'm an honors program minor, and this minor is a separate thing outside of Dodge. It's part of main campus. You have to apply directly into it. And the whole kind of mission of the honors program is like interdisciplinary studies, where you combine two seemingly different subjects, such as like sociology and like biology into one class. And what I really enjoy about it is I get like a taste of a traditional college experience, because during the week I'm sitting in like an hour-long class twice a week, but then on the weekends I'm on set for 12 hours a day. So it's kind of like living this like double Hannah Montana kind of world. But I also get to interact with other students outside of Dodge and understand how their different like majors and backgrounds and experiences kind of contribute to our interdisciplinary discussions. A couple of classes that I've loved that I've taken is like the sociology of like death or the ethics of Darwinism. So it's again taking those subjects and finding like what makes them similar, or like the combination of them both. And so I really enjoy getting my specialized education in creative producing, but also talking about like having weekly homework assignments from my honors program. And I also have really nice perks such as priority registration and free printing.
Devin or Aiden, do you guys have anything to add to that about your minors or either double majors?
Sure. I similar to Alina, I'm a main campus minor with art history, and I chose it because it was sort of a supplement to my creativity. I wanted to kind of broaden my horizon outside of Dodge, and keep up with a little bit of edification that wasn't just for film. But the art history minor has been really wonderful. I've learned so many things about painting. So it's been a really nice supplement to the topics that I like to write about, which typically include art and or history. So I feel that the minor has been really manageable with balancing these two different worlds, main campus and Dodge, because Dodge feels pretty much like a trade school. It's not your typical university experience. So it's always kind of refreshing to dive back into traditional university classes.
Aiden?
Yeah, I'm actually doing a themed inquiry in leadership. So that's kind of like a minor, but it's a little bit less credits and it doesn't show up like a minor on your degree, but it's still you get to take classes in like a different field and get to learn a little bit about that. So I chose leadership because a couple things. For one, in the film and television production program, although we do learn about what's happening in the business, the business of film isn't as integrated into the program as it is for, like, say, creative producing. That's more on the business end. So I thought it would be beneficial to learn a little bit more about how to navigate a business, run a business, just in case for some reason I ever wanted to, I don't know, create a production company or something, but also like just going into the industry, learning about how a business works and how things are run, I think is really important to understand and go into your career. Not only that, I feel like no matter what department you're in, but especially directing, you have to be a leader, and learning how to keep morale up and bring everyone together towards a goal and just bring, set the tone of, the team that you're leading is really important. And that is taught somewhat in this program, but I think that the leadership area of studies just emphasizes that even more and teaches you kind of how to appeal to different people, especially like people with different backgrounds and perspectives, and how do you bring everyone together and relate everyone. And it's really interesting. So that's kind of why I chose mine.
I also didn't realize when I put this panel together with you guys that you all had minors or clusters in something not film. I love that. I mean, some people do, right? They'll have a major that's in film, they'll have a minor, like people eat, breathe, live, die film, and I love that for them. But I also think it's important for people to know that if you have interest outside of film, it is a nice little break. I like to think too that it gives you that nice piece of balance where you go meet other people, find out different things, learn different things, and you bring that back to your storytelling. So maybe I knew what I was doing just subconsciously. Devin, I have a question for you that some people have asked. One, what is your favorite part about your program specifically? Someone asked that, like your favorite part, but also, is there an expected amount of experience that you felt you needed to have before you came to our writing program?
Okay, those are some great questions. I'll answer the experience one first because it's very simple. No, there's no expected amount of experience that you need to come into to the writing program. Especially, they don't expect you to know how to format a screenplay. Your application isn't how do you open final draft. It's nothing quite like that. So no, you don't need much experience. We just want to know that you can tell a story, and everyone has a story that they can tell. It's just finding your voice. And that's what Dodge really teaches you how to do, is find your voice in the screenplay format. In terms of my favorite part, I took it was one class in particular. I took script gym over interterm, which is our break between the spring and the fall semesters. And that class revolutionized how I write anything ever now. It really breaks you out of the habit of procrastination. It gets you ready to just write. So the class was, you have to write a feature screenplay in 2 weeks, which if anybody's ever written a feature screenplay, it's not very easy to write in 2 weeks. It required us to write 10 pages every single day for those 2 weeks. And before that, we were doing some practice and getting ready for the project. And in the meantime, we were also working out. So those classes, those very like niche screenwriting classes that kind of work all of your screenwriter muscles, and you build up this beautiful portfolio behind you. That's the best part of the major.
I have one more that I just found for you. Sorry.
Sure.
What are some I know you said like a feature screenplay, but what are examples of projects that you've worked on in this major?
Yeah. So we do various types of lengths of scripts. So there are classes where you do like short script, like you'll do a 3-page script, you'll do a 5-page script, 7-page script, all for just like short film type projects. There's feature screenplays. There's also half-hour screenplays, or so like a half-hour comedy if you want to do that. You could do an hour-long comedy or hour-long drama. You can write for sitcoms. You can write for multicam productions. There's a series of classes for evolving mediums. So you can write for video games. I have two roommates that are in the video games class right now. And they're learning how to write for video games, which is very strange and different process. You're using Excel spreadsheets. It's very wild stuff. So there's a lot of different types of ways that you can learn how to write while at Dodge. And those are I think that's just kind of scratching the surface. There's probably even nicher classes with like 2 people in them.
Thank you. I have a question for any of you guys. Have you traveled abroad or taken any travel courses? Are those available to Dodge students? Are they popular? And then how do you guys go about that?
I would love to if I could just jump in real quick.
Of course.
I just came back from studying abroad last semester.
Awesome.
So I really want to get the word out. If you can do it, go abroad in any capacity whatsoever. Um, there might be people that are advising you that'll tell you you can't do it because of such and such reason with your credits. You can do it. You can find a way to make it work. Study abroad is the most exciting and singular opportunity that you'll ever have at a university. You can't get that experience any other time in your life for that kind of money. And so I would highly recommend study abroad. I went to Paris, France last semester for my art history minor. It wasn't even for film. So, I was being very snooty in the Louvre, but I highly recommend it. We offer a lot of travel courses that I'm sure other people are gonna talk about. But yes, study abroad if you can.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, if I could piggyback off of that as well, similar to Devin, I also traveled abroad to Taipei, Taiwan last year for my Chinese minor, not for my major, but and that was just such a fulfilling experience. I originally really wanted to travel abroad for a whole semester, but like I mentioned previously, because I had switched my major, it just like wasn't super feasible for me. So I was really bummed at the moment, but then I was like, oh shoot, Chapman offers this great thing called travel courses where you could travel abroad for a time, either during the interterm, which is that winter break period, or like during the summer, right? So got that opportunity and it was super great. Got to take care of some credits, but I also did really quickly want to shout out this awesome opportunity within the broadcast journalism documentary program called Community Voices. This is a great class for anyone just interested in documentary filmmaking. I have a friend who, or just to name some places that people have gone to, you can literally go anywhere. I have a friend who's going to shoot her thesis in Serbia. I've seen people in this class, they've gone to Japan, Thailand, Ghana, New Zealand, Singapore, just like so many different kinds of places, but also in the country as well. One of my friends shot her documentary in Pennsylvania last year, and that is doing really, really well and got screened in the US Capitol this past summer. So it just goes to show like in those study abroad courses, right, you have the opportunity to make something super meaningful. Even as a student here at Dodge, you're still making such impactful projects, and study abroad courses are just one avenue for you to do that.
Thank you. Aiden and Elena, do you guys have anything to add?
I'm studying abroad this upcoming interterm. It is for a film course, actually. I'm going to South Korea to study the Korean film industry. I don't know what's gonna be like yet, but I'm really excited. And I know this professor offers it every year, so I don't know if y'all touched upon it, but within at least the Dodge/film related travel study abroad courses, some of them are recurring. Like if you don't want to go internationally, sometimes there's a group of students and professors who go to the Sundance Film Festival. So there's also some like more not local, but like national opportunities as well to get more like film related experience outside of California.
Thank you, Aiden.
Yeah, I haven't been able to study abroad. I really want to shoot a film in Italy. I think it would be so cool. And one thing is that like a lot of the programs are kind of integrated. So I know like the Italian program is really trying to collaborate with Dodge to create more opportunities for stuff like that, which is super awesome. But I like you can also intern at film festivals. I know they had people like at Cannes and the Venice Film Festival and, South by Southwest. And like you can go to all these different film festivals, or like Elena's doing, you can go to another place and learn about the film industry there. And I think that's really awesome because you don't have to like you can be a filmmaker anywhere. You don't have to necessarily stay in LA if you don't want to. So there's really cool opportunities to find kind of where you feel like you fit and just to learn also to get perspective and maybe get some new ideas for your films. So whether you go to a film festival or just go learn about film, I think it's a great opportunity. But there are also awesome ways to travel abroad that are not film related. That's why it's great to also have a minor or something outside of Dodge just to learn a little bit more, gain some perspective, and meet some new people.
Thank you. Aiden, while I have you, there's a question for you. Have you taken time since you've been here? You're super busy, obviously, but have you worked on any personal passion projects? If so, how did you find the time and the resources?
Yeah, that's a great question. So this summer, I actually shot an independent that I directed. That was really, really fun. It's like a huge passion project. And now, I'm hopefully doing the festival circuit, which is really cool. But I got to use a lot of, well, Dodge helped me a lot in terms of, for one, my entire crew is from Dodge. So the minute I got the idea, I called all my friends from Dodge and I said, I want to do this thing. I know it's crazy, but can we do it? And I got so many of my friends on board. And from then, we worked for 8 months on this project. It was so much fun. It was, of course, hard to find time because, like I said, I was on set a lot and so were they. But that's the thing is everyone is willing to, okay, I'm off set at 8 p.m. I'm going to go to your house and we'll work on this. And it's just people really are so willing to help. And I think that's great. And also the faculty are willing to look at your progress. And I got a lot of advice in pre-production while I was writing the script, and faculty members were looking at it and giving me advice and looking at the way I was preparing and helping me. And so they're more than willing to help you with your independent projects, even if they're not Dodge affiliated. And then also I was able to use, the editing suites and do things like that with my personal projects. So I didn't have to worry about oh my gosh, can my computer handle all this and all that stuff. I still was given access to that. And then, sorry, was there a second part of that question?
Just resources. How'd you find the time?
Resources.
Resources, yeah.
Yeah. So, and now that I'm doing film festivals, I'm working with the film festival coordinator we have here, who is great. He used to be a programmer and he knows a ton about film festivals and knows a lot about how film festivals program their festivals. So he understands which ones would want your film and all that kind of stuff. So it's been really awesome working with him and made the process so much easier. So I would say the people at Dodge are the biggest resources you can use for your independence because they are more than willing to help. And then another thing is, like I said, you can use the editing suites and you can use the software and things like that. So that's really awesome that you can kind of take advantage of that, even if it's a passion project.
Awesome. We have a few questions, and you guys have also mentioned it in a ton of your answers, but can you talk a little bit about our Career Center? So if you've had an internship, how you've gotten that internship, and if you've used our Career Center, what are some of the resources that we've given? Lisa, can we start with you first?
Yeah, definitely. So I actually was at my internship today. I'm an intern at Seacrest Studios, which is run by the Ryan Seacrest Foundation, if you guys are familiar. But they have a direct partnership with Chapman University. So actually, a lot of their interns were previously Chapman students, which is really great. And Chapman has that kind of partnership with a variety of other companies and organizations and things like that. For example, my professor is the executive producer over at Good Day LA, and a variety of their producers and news anchors are from Chapman as well, which is really, really cool. But I got that internship, of course, with Secret Studios through Chapman. I heard about it through my friends who were upperclassmen when I was a freshman, right? Who interned there and told me all about it. And also, I used the resources at the Career Center. I used their or what was it, the resume building workshop, something like that, I don't remember the exact name, but essentially I went to someone, asked them for their advice on my resume. Hey, how can I rework this? How can I rewrite this? How can I cater my experiences and skills to what Seacrest is looking for, right? So in that way, that's how I utilized the Career Center, and it was super helpful. You literally can just walk in. We have a physical office space, our Career Center, so you can just walk in and be like, I need help, and someone will help you out. It's really accessible like that, and it's really awesome. And there's just so many internship opportunities that you can find through this Career Center.
Thank you, Devin.
I'd love to second everything Lisa just said. The Career Center has been incredibly useful and just invaluable in getting an internship. I'm currently working at Kennedy Marshall, the Kennedy Marshall Company, which is Kathleen Kennedy and Frank Marshall's company, and I'm in their unscripted doc section. And I wouldn't have found that internship if it weren't for the Career Center. They do an excellent job of kind of helping you navigate this really clandestine world of the film industry, a bunch of these internships you're just not going to see listed on a LinkedIn or an Indeed or anything like that. So the Career Center works overtime to get you the resources that you need to set you up for success. I just met with the man that you all should meet when you come here, Joe Rosenberg.
Mhm.
And, you know, I sat him down and we kind of talked about everything that's going on professionally. And, you know, they really help you kind of create a path forward and give you reassurance because, you know, you start talking about graduation and then you get a little antsy and the existential crisis starts coming on. But the Career Center has always been there to kind of rein you in, put the blinders on, and help you understand where you're going, where you've been, and where you are now.
Awesome, Melina.
Yeah, I want to, I guess, third what everyone's saying, just echo it. The Career Center has been truly instrumental in my, at least like professional journey throughout college. I wanted to intern as soon as I could, given my schedule. And I think it's been mentioned around, but like the Career Center has this like Chapman exclusive Facebook group where the student workers will post job opportunities and internship opportunities almost every hour. So there's like a plethora of places you could apply for. And then once you find something you're interested in, you can get personalized resume review, cover letter feedback, interview prep, and really put your best foot forward with the support of the student workers. I've gotten to intern at a multitude of places, from small production companies to big studios like NBC, and I had truly the best time. And what's really nice is when you go in the industry, you start meeting like other Chapman alumni, and you're like, oh my gosh, you were like me like just 5 years ago. And so something that the Career Center will also do is connect you with alumni in the field that you want to be in. They recently started this mentorship program for seniors where you are matched up with someone actively working in the industry, only several years above you, and they can give you monthly advice. And so it's really nice. So when you're in the post-grad world or about to enter it, you can have this like pre-established network of people you've met through your internships or through the Career Center support that will help you that will recommend you to opportunities or recommend you to other people who might know opportunities, and slowly but surely really build this solid foundation.
Thank you so much, Aiden.
Yeah, I did 2 internships this past summer, and I also got them through the job board that the Career Center has. So both of them I found through that, and I reached out. And it was really cool. And just like to go off of the point of Chapman being super connected to like every single company that there is, these were like both they're very separate companies. I worked at a post-production house and at a distribution financing company, one in development, one in post-production, so very separate. And at the development one, I like 3 or 4 of the employees I worked very closely with were Chapman alumni. It was really cool because we could talk about professors and just like bond over that. And then at the other place, I actually ran into my professor because he's the post-production supervisor on the new A24 film. And so he was there working, which was crazy. So at both places, like there were like old Chapman students and a Chapman professor. And it was just so cool because I was like, oh my God, it's all so connected. And I remember at one of my internships, one time I was like leading someone, a guest, to the CEO's office for a meeting. And I was like, we were talking and he asked where I went to school. And I said Chapman. He goes, oh, Chapman. And then he went to the CEO and was like, you got Chapman students here? That's so cool. I was like, oh my God, I feel so flattered. So they all like know Chapman, and it's so cool because just like being able to bond with those people over even just the school you go to already creates that connection. And like I know the motto here is like once a Panther, always a Panther. You always have that network, and alumni are so like they want to help you so much, and just keeping in touch with that network, like Elena said, especially with the mentor program, like you really get to know people, and we're so connected to like it's like it freaks me out sometimes because I'm like I feel like everywhere I go like Chapman is lurking, but in a good way. But yeah, that's my experience with the Career Center. It's been really great.
Aiden, since I have you, I'm going to go back around, but this is my final question for you guys. It's a two-part, but it's short for both. One, your ideal job that you would like to land, obviously, big picture. What is the ideal job? And the second part of that is what is a piece of advice that you would give prospective students?
Yeah. Okay. So my ideal job, probably at least starting out in the industry, I would love to get in creative development at a studio, because obviously I would love to direct, but I think just developing characters is the thing that I want to do most, and figuring out how to tell their stories. So definitely like creative development at at a studio. I mean, Warner Brothers is like my dream place, but something like that, or even at a production company, anywhere where I can develop characters and stories would be ideal. And then a piece of advice, I would say, don't be afraid to show your personal style and perspective and unique stories. I think a lot of times when people are applying to film school, they think that they have to like fit into this like film school kind of, film, and they have to make it super perfect and all this stuff. And it's like that's not at all what they care about. That's another reason why I love Dodge, is just like they care so much about the storytelling aspects. Like just make sure what kind of stories do you want to tell? If there's some interesting way you want to convey something, do it, because we want to see that. And I think just try to fit into a specific mold. Just like tell the story in the most, you way possible is what I'd say.
Thank you so much, Elena.
Yeah, similar to Aiden, my like dream job is to also be like a studio executive working between like a production company and a network, ideally in like TV development and programming, just because I like the idea of like, also not only like working with the writers and creatives to develop a story they're passionate about, but also see it all the way to the end and make sure it is ongoing. Love the good studio environment. And for the second half, any advice? I'd say so. Well, I will say also similar to Aiden's is that your biggest currency is your voice. I think everyone at Chapman has such a unique perspective and background that really makes them such a unique storyteller and makes people want to work with them. And there's like when you go to see the junior, senior thesis films at the end of the semester or the year, every story is just completely different. And you can see everyone's individual styles come through in all these projects. And so understanding like what stories you like and also what stories you want to tell will take you so far, because you'll not only you'll not only carve out like a distinct spot for yourself in this industry, which can sometimes be very homogenous, but you can also collect a group of people who want to tell similar stories or have a unique skill set or perspective that can contribute to the stories you want to tell. So find your voice and keep singing.
Thank you, Devin.
I mean, that's really tough to beat, but I'll try. In terms of job after graduating, I've been bitten by the Joe Rosenberg bug, and I'm hoping to be working at the CAA mailroom, and then eventually assisting on a desk, and who knows. But dream job is to be writing and directing for scripted and unscripted. In terms of advice, I'm going to give the advice my dad has been giving me my whole life, and it's do your thing. It's very similar advice to what the other two have said, but it's very important. You find it a lot in the screenwriting program where there's a tendency to kind of get homogenized. People work with a professor that has a very certain way that they like things written or like things not to be written. And, that might work for the class, but it's also very important to not lose what makes you you. If you find something, all right, but write your slug lines correctly, please. If you if you find something that is really inspiring and really true to you, pursue that. If it's your thing, make sure you hone and protect it, because the industry is looking for any little fault that shows up, and you have to protect yourself, your creativity and your personal identity. And Chapman is a great way to kind of learn how to do that. So do your thing. That's my advice.
Thank you, Devin. Lisa?
Yeah, so for me, definitely the big dream would to be a news executive producer. I actually have the opportunity to be the EP of Chapman News, which is our student-run newscast next semester. I'm really excited for it. So definitely like producing news is something that I really want to do post-grad, and hopefully will be the reality for me. What market I will land up in, who knows, whether that's the Midwest or New York, I don't care, as long as I get to produce, but we'll see how that goes. But in terms of advice, I would say just don't compare yourself to other people. It's something that I'm sure all of us on this panel have heard before, but it's so easy to compare yourself, especially when you're going to a top four school, right? Like Dodge, because there's so many amazing and talented people here within the broadcast journalism program itself too. Like some of the freshmen here have already had TV experience, and I'm looking at them like, oh my goodness, I didn't even know what broadcast really was until like 2 years ago, and what television was like really. But it's so easy to, look around at you and forget like the path that you're walking on, right? So as a prospective student, right, looking at this school, please, like, imagine yourself there. It's so easy to like look at an amazing school like Chapman or at Dodge, right, and be like, oh my goodness, like I barely have film experience, or I've never written news broadcasts before. Like what, like can I even be here? Well, yes, like just forget about all of that, right? Strip it down. Do you align yourself, or can you see yourself aligns with Dodge's mission and what the facilities that we have here and all the opportunities that we have here? If you can say yes to that, then go for it, right? Like don't compare yourself to anyone else's journey. Do your thing, hunker down and work hard. Like it's gonna pay off, and eventually you'll be able to look back and be like, oh shoot, like I did that. Like I came so far. I'm sure everyone on this panel can say the same thing. Like the people that they are now is nothing compared to who they were 4 years ago or whatever. And the same will go for you guys as you're applying to Chapman and Dodge, right? Like you're worth it, and don't compare yourself to other people. Just focus on you and just work hard at it.
Thank you guys so much. I also like to add my piece of advice, and Aiden is a perfect example, and so is Lisa with a change of major, but you will end up where you're supposed to be. So whether that's here, we would love to have you, whether that's at another institution, whether it's grad school, whatever was meant to be, you will end up there. So just trust in that. But that's my biggest piece of advice that I like to give applicants too. It's a busy time. Enjoy it. I know this is a stressful time for you guys too. I can imagine. I remember. But just make sure you guys are enjoying your senior year too. Have some fun, get to, make the most out of it and remember your final year. Thank you guys so much for joining us. A special thank you to my amazing panel. They are all fantastic. They work in my office. So again, after tonight, if you have any questions, our email is dodgeadmin@chapman.edu. We're also all on Unibuddy. So if you Google on Chapman's website, chat with a student, Unibuddy will pop up. So you're welcome to chat with them directly if you wanted to know more specifics. But thank you so much for joining us today. We hope that we were able to answer most of your questions. Thank you and have a great night.